Pied Piper of Hamelin. The village of Hamelin was once a place of laughter, but now it belongs to the shadows. A sea of gray fur moves through every street, stealing food and peace from the families within. Standing at the gates, a young traveler named Elias watches the chaos. He does not carry a sword, only a flute carved from an old willow tree. High above the panic, Mayor Sterling watches with a frown, more worried about his gold than his people. He calls out to the stranger, offering a mountain of coins to anyone who can rid them of the plague. Elias looks up, his expression calm and steady. He accepts the deal, not for the gold, but to bring the music back to Hamelin. Elias closes his eyes and breathes into the flute. The first note is low and warm, vibrating through the cold air like a heartbeat. In a small attic window, Mia stops hiding and leans out, mesmerized by the sound. It is a melody that feels like home, a song that promises the darkness is finally coming to an end. As the melody grows stronger, the shadows begin to move. From under floorboards and behind heavy doors, thousands of rats emerge, drawn by a sound they cannot resist. They follow Elias in a long, flowing river of fur, their aggressive chittering replaced by a hypnotic silence. The young piper moves with a steady grace, leading the swarm toward the village gates. Elias leads the trail to the edge of the rushing Weser River. He stands atop a jagged stone, his music turning sharp and commanding. The rats do not stop. They march directly into the cold, churning water, carried away by the current. One by one, the village's burden vanishes into the mist, leaving the air quiet for the first time in months. The sun rises over a clean Hamelin, but the atmosphere is heavy with tension. Elias stands in the square, his task finished, asking for the reward he was promised. Mayor Sterling looks at the empty streets and then at his heavy purse of gold. A cold greed fills his heart and he lets out a mocking laugh, refusing to pay the traveler. The villagers turn their backs, following the mayor's lead. They whisper that the task was too easy, that music isn't worth such a high price. Elias feels the weight of their ingratitude like a physical blow. He doesn't argue or shout. Instead, he slowly raises the willow flute back to his lips. This time, the melody is different, softer, sweeter, and filled with a strange, magical light. Inside the houses, the children stop what they are doing. Mia drops her wooden spoon, her heart dancing to the rhythm of the new song. It isn't a song of command like the one played for the rats. It is a song of adventure, of candy-colored hills and endless summer afternoons. One by one, the children step out into the streets, their faces glowing with wonder. Elias begins to walk, and the children of Hamelin follow him, like a colorful ribbon through the gray town. They laugh and skip, oblivious to the frantic cries of their parents, who find themselves frozen, unable to move or break the spell. The piper's music creates a bridge of sound that only the young and pure of heart can cross, leading them away from the greedy city. The children reach the foot of the great Koppenberg Mountain, a massive wall of stone that seems to block their path. But as Elias plays a high, soaring note, the solid rock begins to ripple like water. A grand entrance opens, revealing a world of soft light and lush greenery inside the mountain. The children gasp in delight, seeing a place where the sun never sets. At the very back of the line, Mia pauses. Her tired legs have made her slower than the others, and she looks back at the distant, silent chimneys of Hamelin. For a moment, the magic wavers as she thinks of her empty home. But then she looks at the mayor, standing far off in the square, still clutching his gold, and she realizes that the village has lost its soul. Back in Hamelin, the spell on the adults finally breaks. The mayor drops his heavy bags of gold, the coins spilling across the cold cobblestones. But no one reaches for them. The silence in the village is deafening. Every cradle is empty, and every playground is still. The wealth the mayor fought so hard to keep now feels like nothing more than cold, useless metal. The parents reach the mountain, beating their fists against the cold, unyielding stone. There is no door, no crack, and no sound from within. They cry out the names of their sons and daughters, but only the mountain wind answers them. The magical bridge has vanished, leaving behind a wall of silence that reminds them of the promises they failed to keep. Inside the mountain, the world is a kaleidoscope of color. Trees with silver leaves bow as Elias passes, and the air is filled with the scent of wild strawberries. The children are no longer tired or hungry. They run through fields of soft lavender, their laughter harmonizing with the piper's song. Here, the only currency is kindness, and the only law is joy. Mia sits by a sparkling stream, watching the water flow uphill. Elias approaches her and sits on a nearby mossy log. For the first time, he isn't playing. He watches the children play, his eyes reflecting the peaceful glow of this hidden world. He tells Mia that this place is a sanctuary for those whose spirits were being dimmed by the greed of the world outside.
The wind sings a quiet song today.
Back in the hollow halls of Hamelin, the mayor counts his coins over and over, but the gold has lost its luster. Every clink of metal sounds like a child's sob. He realizes that a town without its future is just a graveyard of stone and pride. The weight of his broken promise hangs heavier than any chain, turning his grand office into a cold, lonely cage. Mia asks Elias if they will stay here forever. The piper looks out over the valley, where the children are building houses out of light and song. He explains that the mountain is not a prison, but a lesson. One day, when the world outside remembers how to value a song more than a coin, the path might open again. Until then, they are safe and cherished. Years pass, and Hamelin becomes a quiet place of memory. The mayor is long gone, and the people have learned to live with kindness, hoping their children might one day return. They leave flowers at the foot of the mountain and play simple flutes in the square, making sure the air is always filled with music, just in case the piper is listening. One quiet evening, the flowers at the mountain's base begin to glow. The villagers gather, not with anger or greed, but with a simple, shared song of welcome. The stone face of the mountain ripples once more, softening like silk. It is a sign that the lesson has been learned. The heart of the village has finally grown larger than its hunger for gold. From the light, the children emerge, looking exactly as they did the day they left. Mia leads them, walking tall and strong, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of a hidden world. Elias stands at the entrance, one final peaceful note before fading into the mist of the forest. The music remains in Hamelin, not as a curse, but as a reminder that the most precious things are never bought.